with the presentations and with everything. We have a lot going on. We have here some new faces as well that do, like Justin, that is a new face in the town hall, but not a new face in the community. So it's going to be really cool to see what everyone has prepared. But to start, Priscilla, please go ahead and
Yeah.
break the ice.
Welcome everyone once again. So for our icebreaker, it's just a little question. Just imagine, just an imagination. You were given $1 million, well, maybe in your country currency, and you've been tasked to do something with this $1 million in your community. So it's not for you. The money is not yours. You have to do something in your community with it. What do you think you can do? And you never can tell. Maybe you bringing your ideas here or saying it here might attract funding. Who knows? Who knows? So if you know what you think you can do with your $1 million, you could raise your hand or mute and speak. Yes, Maria, please go ahead.
I would somehow create many wallets with 5 ADAs inside of it and create a lesson where everybody has to recover that wallet so they know the importance of the words and self-custody. That's very hard to get. And then I'll put some people to buy things on the marketplace so they actually grasp what we are doing here, because for them it's so far away from what they live.
Wow, that's really nice. That's really nice and very kind of you to do that. Anyone with another idea, what you can do with $1 million? You never can tell. This idea you are bringing out might attract funding. Maybe Ayo will be funding it, or Rafael, or
Me?
Victor. We will use your bonus to fund it.
Yeah, no, thank you. I don't have $1 million to fund that. But yeah, it's I'm not gonna say anything special if I said something, right? So I'm doing my own startup, so I'll use that for the startup. So as simple as that.
Oh,
Yeah, I agree
well,
with
it's not
Rafael.
for the community. No, the startup is not for the community, is it?
Of course it is.
Yeah,
If you use
it is.
crypto,
The
you'll
social
need to use the
impact startup.
solution.
Okay.
So if you think like
Okay.
that, it is for you,
Yeah.
Priscilla,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah. For me, $1 million. I think I'll build like a training center for my community, especially for the youth, for them to have like a skill training there, because most of them after high school they don't know what to do again because they don't get the opportunity to go back to tertiary as in the university. So that would actually give them like a startup in life. Yeah. Mayor, what will you do with $1 million?
The thing is, anytime I wake up in the morning and I step out to get breakfast, um, there is this borehole. It's a community borehole, I think from a politician or thereabouts, by the road. And you see the community people going there to fetch water and all those kind of stuff. Those people that cannot afford a borehole or something. And yeah, so maybe more of that to reduce the load on that particular.
Yeah, I think he's frozen, but I get the idea of what he's trying to put out there. That's very generous and kind of you, Mayor.
Well,
Very kind.
awesome. Great for sharing a little bit more about yourselves and your ideas. Let's get to it. Let's get into what matters. Let's go into the presentation. We have a few topics, so let me just share my screen with all of you and let's get into today's agenda. So, all right. Please, can you see my screen? No, yes, no, yeah. All right.
Yes, we
Thank you,
can
guys.
now.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Well, welcome everyone to the Deep Funding Town Hall. It's great to have you here. Now we are getting serious about the town hall. And to start with, I think no better than the agenda. We start here with a little presentation of what is deep funding for those watching for the first time. This session is also being recorded onto YouTube, so for those watching there, this is definitely going to be relevant. Additionally, we'll have some cool presentations, and maybe I'll just drop the hint. if we can make a little shorts from these presentations from the marketing circle, I think that's great for everyone presenting here and to bring more awareness to these projects outside of the town hall. But after we present what is deep funding, we have Agrotech Hub presentation. They've been doing some amazing work, and Maria is going to tell us more about it. Then we have initiative Hetzerk. Am I saying it right, Justin? Or can you correct me?
You got it. You got Hetzerk. Yep, that's it.
All right, awesome. Which will be presenting one of their very interesting proposals that they got awarded for, and gonna show us what they've done so far, the impact and the progress. Then we have the MeTTa Coders Lab Ideation RFP. This is an RFP idea that should be presented by Guillermo, and he's going to tell us more about what he aims to achieve and why he thinks this idea is good for deep funding, and also an homomorphic encryption for secure functional programming, another idea from Muzonda Bemba. But before starting, let's go into what is deep funding. As you know, deep funding is a decentralized grants program. It's tasked to fund projects and initiatives that align with SingularityNET and with its mission, that is the creation of a democratic, decentralized, and beneficial AGI. And as part of this community, everyone is welcome. The only thing we ask is for you to come with an open mind, to come with all your creativity, open to collaborate with others, and go through that process with kindness and also a lot of empathy. So if you believe in these values, if you think they're relevant, and if you can follow them, then you're super welcome to come, collaborate, and achieve this very ambitious mission for all humankind. And as part of deep funding, as part of being a decentralized program, the community has a big impact. You guys are the one who makes proposals and advance this beneficial AGI. You're also the ones voting and selecting the best proposals. Besides that, you can participate in the review process in the platform and actually give valuable insights to any of the proposals or how they can improve for future rounds and even for the existing round. You can participate in discussions, in sessions like this town hall, but also the open all hands event we organize for all the community members, which is focused more on governance. And finally, you have the circles, where it's just community members like me and many others who are executing important roles in deep funding, roles such as operations, reviews, marketing, events, and much more. As for this town hall, this is the moment for the community. Here we want to discuss everything related to deep funding. We want you to come, learn, ask questions, stay on top of what's being done by community members. So as a consequence, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love for you to book some presentations here and to come share a little bit of what are your ideas and what you're doing. Here you also have the community website. If you want to scan this QR code, this is the place where you can actually book the set presentations, keep up with all the events, but also apply to circles if you want to participate more actively and keep track of progress and work within the circles. So yeah, with that said, and with you guys knowing that you're always welcome to come and host a presentation, a breakout room about anything, whether it is a awarded project or something else related with deep funding and AI, we can move on to the main session, and we will start with the Agrotech presentation. Maria, are you ready to take it over?
Yes, I'm ready.
Awesome. You have co-host access in case you want to share the screen. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
So can you see my screen now? Like showing the Agrotech.
Yes, we can see Agrotech Community Hub.
Okay, so this is the Agrotech Community Hub, the official hub for deep funding in Brazil. So our job is connecting innovators, Brazilian innovators in agribusiness and opportunities to get finances for their project using AI. So Agrotech, deep funding, Singularity, all connect in the same Networking here, if you would like to get more information about our hub, I think is the only one around the world in that matter. Our mission is to facilitate access to the deep funding. I don't know if you know, but Brazil, only 5% of people speaks English. So when you have this initiative where we hold people by the hands and bring them in and tell how to do and how is the process so they can keep learning on their own is really, really important. It's like open great opportunities to people here. So the first partnership we got was with the Liga Agro for the FIA business schools. In the first event, we got 16 people there. So we got activities for deep funding, integration with new members, divulgation and collaboration and strategy to bring more people to know what deep funding is about. And this is connected
Maria,
to,
sorry, not to
yes,
interrupt you, but Daniela has pointed out that you have a
sorry.
presentation in English.
Oh,
I'm not sure just if it helps, but it's just in case you don't find out about it later. A bit-
okay, right. I'm sorry, guys. It's just
No
running all
worries.
over the place and I got the wrong presentation. I got the Portuguese one. So the other partnership that we got was the National Observatory of Blockchain, where we're going to be in the map of initiatives. We would like to do actions together. Also, these reach out people national wide, because it's a very important portal and it's a kind of official recognition about the work we are doing, right? And Daniela, I'm sorry. So here is something that we are working on at the moment. It's the new partnerships with the Congress, National Women Agribusiness, the Brazilian Research Agribusiness, that the acronym is Embrapa, is a very important part of research in Brazil, really, really big. And then we have a Brazilian Association of Agribusiness, and then AgriHub, that is a federation for goods from the land that belongs to a state that the name is Mato Grosso do Sul. Also in an area where agribusiness is very preeminent, it's very important. So our objectives is teaching people, offering a workshop and orientation how to use deep funding. Growing community as well is very important. We now will welcome new people to a community, but later on it's important that there is our other members to welcome the new members and so on. Global connection, facilitation of the Brazilian entrepreneurs to different institutions internationally, and acceleration. The impact we would like to have is effective communication, accelerating projects. Sometimes countries like Brazil, we have a lot of talented people with great projects. But sometimes it's the lack of access to funding. Sometimes because the government fundings are too complicated and overwhelming process. So what we do here in deep funding actually is way easier, as I was learning the last week. So our targets for 2025, 2026 have more than 100 projects included in deep funding, cover 5 regions of our country. I don't know if you know or you have this status, but Brazil covered an area that is bigger than the entire other Latin America countries. And then would like to do 25 workshops. Then we would like to present Brazil is a reference, a global reference for AI, AI agribusiness products. And then here's our next steps. The first one was the launch of the hub, and then we are in the second step, that is expansion of partnership. The third one is regional workshops. 4 is is to get people actually to submitting proposal. And then the 5th is the consolidation, where we are looking at 2027. How the community could contribute with us if you are here today, or maybe you are watching this recording later on, is just to tell people how to find us, what are our contacts. I think from my experience from other chains and what I do here, marketing is a very, very, very important. And when it's mouth to mouth is even better. Thank you very much.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Maria. I don't know if there's any questions. Anyone wants to say anything? If not, I do have some questions. Why
We are
agriculture?
the team, we are the team here, Charmaine.
All right.
It's here with me and also Daniela. So I'm not doing anything on our own. We are kind of a team, sharing the responsibility because it's a lot of work, you know. Put everything together in the size of a country like Brazil is a huge responsibility.
Yeah, that's true. Just for context, everyone, Deep Funding is trying to decentralize its reach through community hubs, which were proposed by community members with different ideas and different focuses all around the world to bring proposals, new contributors, and just more activity overall into the AI space and into Deep Funding. Maria, I would love to know. It's very interesting your focus in agriculture and how to bring AI and agriculture together. I would love to know what drove you to do that. What is the opportunity you see in that space, and especially in Brazil?
Right. Brazil is a competitor for a lot of type of products like crops. A lot of Brazil is a huge and feeding the world with food. So taking it a consideration and taking that the BRICS also, Brazil is also part of the BRICS, I thought it would be an opportunity to open the doors of my countries to entrepreneurs that maybe didn't get the funding elsewhere. And please, if you could look at Google research and see the numbers of Brazil, it's huge. So I thought, well, might there be a place to Brazil? Because I don't know. In Catalyst, Brazil only approved one project, Lex Fund. And then I start thinking, we start thinking strategically, how could we get the international attention to Brazil? How could we strategically move the needles that sometimes other community are not interested? And then the hub come to mind to get technology that is in the news all the time, AI, and then what we are best at and combine.
All right, awesome. I also, just as a final question, maybe to share a little bit about what you've done, which I think is really good and impressive so far. I know that you've established 2 partnerships, right? And it was not an easy process. Uh, I know you put a lot of work into it. Do you want to share a little bit more about that process, and also maybe about how do you think these partnerships will be really important for the hub and for a bigger impact?
USP is a huge university in São Paulo. It's the main one, and then we get Unicamp in Campinas, and so on, so on, so on. So for me, it's very impactful that we start from a high-level university type of thing, and then we spread around. I think when we are working in universities and institutions that's got a high level education and name in our society, we are reaching out to a lot of very, very smart people in the business, people that are there for years and maybe didn't get the opportunity yet, and we are here to open the doors. Do you know what I mean? Would
Yeah.
anyone else to ask a question? I'm here for it. Please, let's learn with each other. I'm here with my open heart.
Hi, I have a question.
Please. Go ahead, Giovanni.
Yeah, thank you very much, Maria, for the presentation. It's a really interesting way to, apply AI and blockchain. I'm also from Brazil. I'm from Recife, Pernambuco, northeast of Brazil. And I work as a professor at a School of Engineering in the University of Pernambuco here. And so you said that there is also a national observatory of blockchain. And in my case, you also mentioned Catalyst, and I had some projects that was approved in the past in Catalyst to promote like blockchain education to students related to STEM. That is something that you pointed very well. Here in Brazil, most people speak Portuguese, so it's hard when you have a lot of, information in English. Of course, we have that students that are outliers, they will go and access and try to, be exposed to what is new. But most of our students lack important information because of the language. And so for the blockchain observatory, it's focused only on agriculture, or you guys are trying to use the use of blockchain in other sectors?
I think this is in general for everybody. I don't know if Daniela would like to talk. She's more into it, or Charmaine. But guys, I would like to introduce Giovanna to you. She's a warrior. She's been in Catalyst forever, trying to get funds. And Pernambuco, where she said, is a faraway north in Brazil. So please send hugs and whatever you feel like from your heart. This woman is here forever fighting like myself. It's just my name is everywhere because I'm an AI, but people like Giovanna need your love, please.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Maria. I will appreciate. Yeah, let's keep fighting. We really need to bring, these new technologies and applications for Brazil, and especially in your case that you are in the University of São Paulo, as you said, the most important university in Latin America. And we have very talented students and professionals in engineering, math, physics. In my case, I am a physicist, I'm a doctor in physics, but we have a very talented people in all areas, not just STEM. And we need to bring this community to these topics that are well aligned with what is happening with the world now. So we really
Let's
need
connect.
to bring
Let's
attention.
connect. I admire your work profoundly.
Oh, thank you.
Your generosity to spend the time in our community, building community with us. So I'm very happy and to share my time with you. Let's schedule, and we have a lot to do here in Brazil. You know my country as I do, and I appreciate so much you come on.
Definitely, I will keep in touch with you. Yeah, thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Giovanni, for unmuting and talking. That's what we want, and questions are always welcome. Thank you also, Maria, for the presentation. Unless we have any other questions, we'll probably move forward. But thank you so much. Also, good luck for the hub. It's amazing the work you're doing so far. It's ambitious, and that's what we need. To go out there, do partnership, do ambitious things. And for example, being able to bring impact in the technology world, but also bring impact to your country. I think it's very beneficial how you align those incentives and how you make it happen. All right. That being said, I think we can move forward to the next presenter, and that will be Justin Diamond and Initiative Hetzerk. Please go ahead, Justin.
So let me share my screen. Okay, so yeah, I'm Justin. I'm finishing my PhD in computer science in Switzerland. So I mostly specialize in generative modeling for physics, chemistry, and machine learning. But yeah, today I'm pretty excited to talk to you about Hetzerk, our project called Decentralized Physics Simulations, which is part of SingularityNET's Deep Funding program. So, but today we're specifically talking about how we're bridging SingularityNET and drug discovery. So hopefully I'll show you how we leverage decentralized computing and some AI, and how we use these things to try to improve drug discovery efforts, especially in this decentralized community. And yeah, basically all of this centers around the SingularityNET ecosystem. And so by the end, we'll hopefully show you how that's done. So before we go into the specifics about what we're doing, maybe it's nice to talk about what kind of challenges that we're addressing in drug discovery. So a lot of scientific fields, from pharmaceuticals to energies to materials, they all depend on very large scale physics simulations. In drug discovery in particular, we often run into massive simulations of molecules to understand how drugs bind to targets. The problem is that these simulations are often done quite independently and in silos. So they're often isolated, for instance, on supercomputers or lab clusters, and the insights are almost never shared, or it's very difficult to share these things. So a big example that we probably all are quite aware of is like during the pandemic, researchers worldwide collectively ran millions of molecular dynamics simulations on this, this virus's spike protein. Yet much of that data remained pretty dormant. It was basically unused after they did this analysis, and a lot of it was in a sense redundant. So many teams unknowingly are repeating similar simulations because they're trying to kind of race to get these publications out. And it's not the most inclusive environments or conclusive environments, because you don't often get very clear results, because there's no way to aggregate all these results that different labs are doing and have very clear analysis from this. So basically, the current infrastructure is quite fragmented. And so today there's no really easy way to aggregate all that information. And yeah, so that's kind of where we're coming in. So what we're trying to do is basically fill this gap, this decentralization gap, and turn this these isolated efforts into a collaborative AI augmented network through SingularityNET. So yeah, I think we've gone over SingularityNET and kind of what the deep funding is, but essentially, deep funding voted for us, and that we were super gracious to get some funding to try to pursue this project. And so basically we see this as taking SingularityNET and trying to really integrate SingularityNET into the field of drug discovery and also pharmaceuticals. And this is all really possible. Well, one, because of the SingularityNET tech and the infrastructure, but also because of deep funding, and it allows us to really try to make this effort and grow this effort over the since we've been funded. So in a sense, like if we can describe, what is Hetzerk? So this is the project which eventually is going to be spun off into a company. But essentially, Hetzerk is building a decentralized protocol for advanced physics simulations, integrated tightly with AI. And the main purpose is to serve scientific communities in an open and incentivized way. But yeah, basically that's a big way to say that we're running physics-based simulations, like those used in drug discovery, on a decentralized compute network. While using like SingularityNET-based AI to drive the intelligence at every step. So instead of relying on one supercomputer or cluster, we tap into this like distributed computing resources around the world. And on top of that, we're developing these AI and generative models to analyze these simulations that we create. So this means that using anything from deep learning to neurosymbolic AI, we're also interested in quantum chemistry algorithms and even some cognitive architectures to improve these simulations. So for instance, just to give an example, AI can help decide like which experiments to run, predict outcomes, or discover patterns and results that it might not be the easiest for humans to see, especially when there's lots of data. But yeah, a crucial piece of what we're eventually going to build is basically our tokenomics and incentive layer. So basically, science accelerates when collaborations are rewarded. So basically, we will start some token-based system to basically incentivize contributions into this simulation network. And basically, the idea is that if you provide computing power, for instance, via our computing network, which we're using a NewNet to do this, which is another SingularityNET spinoff, or if you share a valuable data set or develop a new simulation algorithm, then it's possible to earn like rewards based off of these things that you upload into either the Hetzerk project or incorporate into the SingularityNET ecosystem. So yeah, basically it allows that any scientist or anyone with a gaming PC can really help drive the innovation in the community towards achieving these goals. And so, yeah, so the first part of what makes this possible is basically the decentralized compute infrastructure. And so mostly we're trying to make this work through NewNet, which is just, like I said, SingularityNET's decentralized compute spinoff. But also, I mean, it's also possible to use local servers and cloud services, especially if it's not always the easiest to use decentralized compute. But yeah, I mean, NewNet's amazing because basically what the idea is that you can aggregate all this latent computing power and use the like idle CPUs and GPUs around the world, and you can kind of get benefited for allowing simulations to be run on these supercomputers on these decentralized networks via Hetzerk or NewNet or SingularityNET. And that I mean, the really big vision is essentially that if we are able to take advantage of this very large decentralized network, that we could simulate molecular systems faster than even today's top supercomputers. So that's really from this perspective, what we're going after and what would be the kind of the really long-term goal, what would be able to do. On the other side of that, what we're also doing is developing the core algorithms for very advanced physics simulations. So what that means is that in drug discovery, what we're usually interested in is simulating molecular interactions. So how, for instance, a protein and a potential drug might interact. And if they are interacting, how strongly are they interacting? Does the protein change shape? And basically what these simulations give is basically a movie of how atoms are moving over time. And so these are very valuable things to have. And although they're quite valuable, they're also quite computationally heavy. So depending on how big your system is, for instance, if you're trying to simulate all the atoms in a cell, then I mean, probably even today's supercomputers wouldn't be able to do those types of simulations. But yeah, one of the avenues as well that we're trying to develop is multi-scale algorithms. What this means is that you take into account these atomic calculations, like quantum chemistry calculations. You also do, which are very, very small atom-based calculations. You can also do mid-range types of calculations. So dealing with molecules that are a little bit bigger, like proteins, which is usually done with molecular dynamics simulations. And you can even do like higher end, coarse-grained simulations of protein complexes or even sub-cell complexes in such a way that eventually we'd have this end-to-end simulation pipeline where you can try to simulate throughout the pharmacokinetic models. So basically you can really see not just how a drug interacts with protein, but how these interactions add up to systemic effects that you see, for instance, through the bloodstream or the molecules going through the blood-brain barrier and things like this. So a huge advantage of what we're bringing to this is that what this decentralized network allows is that we can be quite collaborative through data sharing mechanisms. And so basically with this decentralized network, it's much easier to aggregate data, to share data, and also to basically to try to have a privacy layer over this data. So basically these networked approaches means that really all the simulations that we can do, so basically no valuable simulation remains underutilized. So every trajectory, every data set, it really contributes to the bigger picture of trying to build better simulations and better models of how we can, and all these to be used to, to create better drug discovery pipelines. And the last kind of pillar is really where SingularityNET shines. So basically what we want to do is integrate this AI and generative modeling into the simulation loop. So this is a big part of basically how we bridge SingularityNET and this drug discovery efforts, because it's not just about running simulations faster, which is probably possible quite easily, just if you just scale large enough. But we also need to make sense of this and make intelligent decisions about what are nice simulations to run and what are the most interesting avenues in which to pursue certain types of drug discovery efforts. So for instance, once we have all this information done, then we have, once we do all these simulations, then we have a bunch of knowledge. And so one of the, another end goal that we eventually want to have is basically somehow integrate with OpenCog Hyperon framework. So this is basically SingularityNET's symbolic reasoning framework. And what this might allow us to do is that once you have these big simulations, that we can ask very specific questions that almost like logic-based questions that scientists are really interested in, but are not always the easiest to answer. But OpenCog Hyperon's framework allows these questions to be answered with a little bit more precision than the current scientific workflow might allow. So we can answer questions like molecule A binds to protein B when some condition C holds. So if we aggregate enough data around these simulations and around these generative models and around these machine learning models, then we can start doing like high-end causal inferences on top of this Hyperon framework. So, and this is something that's quite crucial in the drug discovery framework, especially when we're dealing with like limited data, which is usually the case when we're dealing when we're in this drug discovery field. So we might only have, like, for instance, a few promising compounds or scarce experimental results, and so we need to integrate, logic or physics-based information in order to make these models accurate in very low data regimes. And so overall, we hope that this like generative modeling and deep learning and symbolic integration, can be quite useful on top of all these simulation pipelines. And if we really want to talk about why I think this is like a perfect, why SingularityNET is a perfect place to do this, is because, well, firstly, basically this paradigm opens up a whole new industry for SingularityNET. Essentially, pharmaceuticals and drug discovery in biotech in general is a huge market that's probably going to exceed $1 trillion USD by 2030. And probably one of the biggest hopes in this field is that AI-driven methods are going to really transform this field more than anything else. And so being at the front end of this and trying to push SingularityNET to building the infrastructure, building the services, building the marketplace to really be able to satisfy the needs that are coming up in the next couple of years is going to be a huge addition to this, to growing SingularityNET, not just in terms of economic gains, but also in terms of academic collaborations and just developing better technologies in general for therapeutics. But also, just at a very low end also, it's if these things work out, it's also great for the use of the SingularityNET marketplace utilization. So you can think that, all these simulations and analysis that are being done, we'll add a lot of API calls on top of and transactions on top of SingularityNET. So that's also great. And also there's like some synergy between other SingularityNET projects. Like also, so for instance, like I mentioned NewNet a couple of times, and how we're working with them to try to take hold of their infrastructure, but also Rejuve.ai is also working in a similar way to like develop AI models for longevity. So this is a lot of things that we could help with. And finally, at a very high level, we can, Hetzerk and this project kind of serve as a proof of concept for decentralized AGI and tracking real world problems. So in that sense, it's also quite useful. And basically where we're at now is that right now we're really focused on integrating with the SingularityNET platform in the marketplace. So we have a bunch of AI services and physics services that are basically containerized, and we're integrating these into the marketplace currently. Yeah, so it requires a lot of like DevOps and back-end development and making sure things, can be compiled quickly. But those things seem to be going well. And yeah, looking ahead, I mean, we hope to kind of be able to release this platform along with all the services even earlier, and possibly even see some sort of token launch in 2026 or something like this. And that's really where we hope to see like a broader community use of this project. And as I mentioned briefly before, on the more of a research and development side, we're keen to try to expand our research goals into integrating this OpenCog Hyperon, basically SingularityNET's AGI engine with Hetzerk to try to basically create ginormous knowledge graphs and do logical inference based off of these simulations that we curate. So it's also something that we're really looking forward to. And obviously it's always possible to expand this to other scientific domains outside of drug discovery. So for instance, in general material discovery, or for instance, battery discovery, or semiconductors and things like this. But yeah, so what we're really hoping is that in the future, if we get something like we saw a couple of years ago with the pandemic, I mean, instead of having a bunch of isolated labs trying to analyze these results, that we can kind of aggregate these results in some decentralized, cohesive manner that is that we can make like these really that we really have a good solid foundation to make these higher level deductions about what are the necessary steps to be done, what kind of drugs might be useful in combating these types of viruses that we saw. And yeah, so with that, it's kind of like a high level overview about how we're trying to merge the SingularityNET ecosystem and the broader drug discovery field, and how we're trying to basically push these things together. And so with that, thank you. And I can answer some questions if you have any. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Justin. It's definitely great to hear about your project, and it seems like a very interesting idea. I'd love to hear if there's any questions. Anyone wants to ask anything?
I want to ask a question.
Sure.
Awesome, Giovanni. Great to hear from you. Please do.
Yeah, so congrats, Justin. Very interesting project on how apply science to solve problems together with AI. My question is related, just more curiosity. How is the access to the database for this, information about drugs? Because the idea, if I understood correctly, is to find out new drugs, right? Using AI, machine learning, and also physics simulations. So is it open the access to database for you to train this system? And the other question is, will you develop a platform? Is that you develop a platform where people can go through these simulations to discover new type of drugs? That's the idea.
Okay, yeah, so maybe I can talk first about the accessibility. So basically, on a high level, what we're trying to do is so obviously, I mean, a lot of drug companies and pharmaceutical companies have a lot of very intricate and sensitive data. And yes, these people aren't always the most keenest to share this data. But there's this whole field of federated learning, especially in decentralized scenarios, where essentially you can use this data. You don't necessarily have to share the data, but you can train machine learning models on this data. And if you can have, you might have some privacy bounds on these models that are created from these, trained from these data. And these models themselves might be shareable with much higher confidence than these data sets. So in some sense, having this network to share data either in an encrypted way or with these higher level models gives you access to data that pharmaceutical companies might not have been really open to without these high privacy and secure channels. So in some sense, this allows us for a much broader integration of data sets. With respect to the platform specifically, I mean, there's basically going to be levels of openness to the things that people create. So I mean, if people create machine learning models that are useful for drug discovery, I mean, some of these, like you might find on GitHub right now, might be completely open source or maybe only partially open sourceable. So you might have, for instance, the weights of the model that are open source, but the actual training procedure might not be open sourced. So I mean, some things might be open source, but other things might not. But the idea is that if you're able to connect these things in a privacy-preserving way, in a way that allows for verification of how secure certain transactions are, then it gives room for a little bit more openness than is currently available with these more closed systems. So right now we don't quite have a platform yet, but the goal is eventually, once we do a token launch, probably in 2026, at that point there will be some sort of platform where it'd be quite easy for universities or individual collaborators to try to integrate their pipelines and try to add to this project in a sense.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. It's a very exciting project. And yeah,
thank you.
Congrats.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Justin. I also have a few questions maybe for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
One would be, so who are like the users you need in this network, and what is your strategy to bring them into the network? How do you plan to capture these users and make it attractive for them?
Yeah, so maybe I can share the presentation again.
I know you have a tokenization model. But
so
besides that, I guess you also want to put companies and their data, right, into the process from what I understood.
Yeah, so the main effort is basically to basically have a tokenized incentive to get people to collaborate on this network. And the goal is that if we have all these incentivizations, that for instance at the base level, you'll be incentivized just to do just to make pure simulations. So if you have idle compute, then we'll give you some tokens, and in return you'll do some simulations for us, so that at the very end of the day we have at least a baseline set of molecular dynamics simulations or quantum chemistry calculations that we can use to either train downstream models, or we can even service these data to either companies that we either partner with, or companies that might just be interested in accessing these data sets on-chain. And so just having this simulation-based mining rewards creates some sort of incentive and creates some sort of economy. So basically people buy the data that we create, but that isn't always the most useful. But the next level would be that on top of this data, we'll also have people that get rewarded for either developing models that are trained on this data, or actually training the models themselves and then uploading it to the platform. And then this also gives another layer of incentivization, because then either universities or partners or pharmaceutical companies can also service these uploaded AI models. So there's some sort of economy based off data, based off of these machine learning models that we generate. But yeah, so it's not necessarily just a single incentivization, but there's kind of like this network of using data to create more models, and the better models we have, the more simulations or the more accurate simulations we can create, and this kind of creates like a cyclical enhancement of the type of data and the type of models that we can create. And the hope is that this will make these things more valuable over time.
I think that's really cool, and opening the development of models is really nice. I guess the challenge then would be how do you ensure the quality and accuracy of the predictions of these models, right?
Yeah.
Or
So those things are quite, I mean, at least at a base level, that they're you can, for instance, have some like held out test sets if you want to just have some sort of validation check over the models that are being used. So for instance, a current project that is going on is something called CASP, which is like a protein structure prediction contest. And basically, there's a bunch of people mostly in universities, but also in companies like DeepMind. They develop models and they try to, and basically everyone is ranked. But then at the very end, basically these data sets are held out, so no one knows the true answer, ideally, and so basically the idea is that if there's enough data sets that are broad enough to cover some the distribution of protein structures, that the AI models that are the best will be the ones that are performing the best on these never before seen proteins. So for instance, this might be a type of procedure you would employ to validate certain machine learning models, but it's not the only one you might employ.
that's cool. It's all, I guess it's a very important part, bringing the data.
Yes,
The
yeah.
right data and a lot of quality data.
But
And you have like verification processes for the data that's imputed, or how is that going to be?
yeah, so I mean, the verification processes aren't done yet. I mean, so exactly how we implement the verification is not certain, but for sure there would be some sort of verification to make sure these pipelines are going smoothly. Yeah.
Yeah, because if the data, the worst that could happen is unreliable data going into the network, right?
But that's also what's quite interesting about at least this domain in specific, is that I mean, yes, you can get data experimentally. So so if you have some sort of machine that calculates things, but you can also have I mean, the simulations that we run are basically based off of quantum mechanical laws. So in a sense, if we want to simulate them really accurately, we can be pretty confident about the type of accuracy that we get, or the error bounds around some simulations that we do. And if we do this on chain, then we can at least verify some amount of these simulations. So we can verify that these simulations and this data that was obtained are a result of running this model at with this level of error thresholds for X amount of time. So these are types of things that you can validate online. But for instance, if someone does simulations outside and brings them into the network without those types of on-chain validations, then it would be a little bit more difficult.
An issue. All right, cool. Thank you. We have also two questions in the chat. One is from Ubio, who's saying, more of an education for me. Does new drug simulation that work in theories on this simulation framework always work in practice, like in human bodies, knowing how complex bodies are?
Yeah, so I mean, so basically with the kind of consensus is that if you run the very most quantum mechanical based simulations, so here we're talking about something called coupled cluster, and if you do this with this specific type of coupled cluster, then yes, you're basically guaranteed to have to be simulating the system, how the body will experience this. But these calculations are so extremely demanding that basically you can only do this basically maybe with like 1 or 2 atoms. So if you wanted to do this for even just a small molecule or a protein, it's nearly impossible. And doing it for a whole biological system system pathway is probably maybe 50 to 100 years in the future when we had advanced AGI. But still, I mean, there's a lot of up and coming methods, like machine learning methods, that are kind of hybrid between these previous like quantum mechanical based methods and these more coarse grained, these faster methods. And so basically the hope is that these advanced machine learning models will kind of integrate the best of both worlds, so fast and accurate.
All right. Thank you, Justin. And the last question from Guillermo. Two questions from Guillermo. One is, in what round was this proposal funded?
Yeah, so this was funded in round 1. Yeah.
And what stage of development are you currently working, and what are your next steps?
Yeah, so where we're currently at is basically we have a bunch of these containerized simulations. So basically like molecular dynamics, these quantum chemistry calculations like density functional theory, and some generative models and deep learning models. And we basically containerized them. So the difficulty now is, well, the very next step is just to put these on the SingularityNET marketplace in the most direct way possible, which is basically just using the SingularityNET daemons. But ideally, as we mentioned, that this would be a better service to host on decentralized decentralized platforms like NewNet. We have once NewNet is goes live, then we can kind of integrate more with these decentralized networks a little more than we have been in the past. Yeah.
All right. He's also asking about milestone you're currently in. I don't know if you have that information on top of mind.
Yes. So right now we're basically kind of building all the milestones concurrently, and so once we just do some tests about whether or not it's working well on the SingularityNET marketplace, then most of the milestones from the project, will be mostly complete, and we can continue from there. Yeah.
All right, awesome. And final question: is it just you, or you have also a team working with you, Justin?
Yes. So the project is mostly just me, but the Hetzerk the project is developing trying to add new people. So right now we are 2 people for the project, but with some interest to bring in other people as well. Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share what are the skill sets you need in the community, and maybe you can find someone with what you need, I think. So maybe that's something to think about.
Yeah, okay.
Well, thank you so much, Justin. Great job, great presentation. It was super interesting.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad.
It was great hearing from you. Thank you for the courage
No
as
problem.
well. All
Okay,
right,
bye.
awesome. Yeah. All right. Let's move forward then now to the presentation from Guillermo with MetaCoders Lab Ideation. A presentation is an ideation RFP that, might become a reality. Guillermo. Oh yeah, yes, you can share. Let me give you your good to go, please.
Okay, hey Rafa. Hi everyone.
Hey.
That's pretty cool work, Justin. Thanks for that presentation. Hi everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces around, some newcomers also. So hi everyone. So this next proposal you're gonna be checking, or guys, let me share the screen for you. It's a proposal that is born in the core of the Ambassador's core contributor program. Mainly, it initially from the LATAM Guild, trying to push out an educational program for OpenCog OpenCog Hyperon and MeTTa throughout our LATAM region universities. So we'll start on that job of documentation, pulling out documentation and all information in these regards. And we figured out there was a lot of needs for this to have a way to, as Peter mentioned, one of our community members, lower the bar of entry of what is MeTTa. Because it's a very technical language. It's not an easy one. Okay, every two weeks you have the global community of developers we have the MetaCoder meeting bi-weekly. You guys share the calendar on our community sites, but we don't have nothing to educate on what's the let's say, an introductory educational program for it, step by step. So we came up with the idea of creating this tutorial, and I hope you guys see my screen. So we create a short proposal, a one-pager. We share with our community of ambassadors We design what will be the blueprint, and then we have the meta coders, the hyper on RFPs through Deep Funding, okay? And the proposal didn't have a place, really, a pool to participate. We already knew that, so it's funny. I'm going to share the community, the expert reviews on it. You know, we knew that it wasn't a pool for it, but we went for it just to put the seed about the subject of education becoming something into this. And it really triggered good feedback because it's mostly needed. So you guys, so one of the reviews was, while reviewers rated this submission highly, ultimately the panel of experts selected another proposals, okay? And there is one still very honest. Yeah, this thing doesn't fit to the pool, but we need this kind of thing. We need this happening maybe in a different way. We try with Foundation. We are educating all our program developers from the R&D Guild on the matter of MeTTa. And yeah, long story short, when the ideation RFPs came around, we thought it was a good opportunity. It wasn't me, because when we presented the RFP for this round that I'm sharing with you guys, we developed the ideation. We went through the thing. We developed a kind of a program already. So we have a kind of a pretty solid thing. Peter mentioned, again, Peter, point in this direction. Why don't we put it here? And maybe we have the chance to develop this. And basically, it will cover main aspects. Yeah, as I told you, this is coming from the ambassadors. So we will cover, just to long story short, pretty step-by-step introduction. What are the complexities of the MeTTa language, context settings, and we will start slow and finish, let's say, in a complex, what is today's way of educating with a gamification kind of ideas that we have. We develop, again, all the deliverables on the program as part of that RFP months ago. But yeah, mainly it's creating educational content and cover what are the, as you guys see here on the MeTTa language side, the main aspects of the language, which are multi-paradigmality, atom space, self-modification, graduals, neural, all this, it's an habitual language for some of us, but not for everyone. And today, with the abilities of these tools to help us create this kind of application, like the one Justin was sharing, well, we believe we can create something that helps into the vision and mission of SingularityNET, that it's bringing more developers around the world to work in towards the AGI as a common good, and MeTTa, it's the language, you know. So we need to spread this one out, and education is kind of the way to go. So also we put the whole idea of English, Spanish, and then partnering with the right people to create good quality content, and all those things were already part of the ideation process. So today, I think we have even more tools to kind of develop this program. But again, this will need technical knowledge, so participation and collaboration through the ecosystem with OpenCop, with the guys from our bi-weekly Friday that is already going on. There's a chat with a lot of developers in our Mattermost. And just to put it clear, myself, I don't know about it, details on the code and the language. So, but I do understand that a methodology for education, how gamification interacts with developing, while learning is what is today a trend, and we can produce that kind of, let's say, material, educational material. So yeah, so looking forward to see this one happen. It's not just me, there's a bunch of us that think that this is a good idea that we should keep pushing for and working for. So yeah, and again, a lot of room for collaboration with circles and work groups and guilds from the Ambassador Core Contributor Program and all the ecosystem too. So yeah, that's it, Raf.
All right, thank you so
Do you
much.
have any
Guillermo.
question but a bunch of you guys that are ambassadors, or I haven't checked the invite list, but knows already about this idea and program we have been pushing with Kisi, with Peter, even internally also with Foundation. So we really appreciate being taken notice. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think education is really important. Guys, any questions, also remarks, or even, I don't know, maybe you'd like to see if you can collaborate, whatever you think, or any ideas you have to improve the project is also good. If you guys have anything you'd like to say. I guess the silence means no questions, but if you have a question at any point, raise your hand. Guillermo, maybe I can ask you a question. So yeah, you'll need to find a partner, right? So how will you go on to find a partner? Will you collaborate directly with OpenCog, or you'll get a teacher from the foundation? And also, just to follow up on that, what is the idea for the course? Is to make like live sessions, or to make like an organized course that is video and people can go through it on their own time?
Yeah, the whole ideation is already the RFP. We already used the last time the opportunity to share. Everything is in the RFP proposal already. So we designed that. All the material is there. I was just checking the platform is down now. That's why I can't share it with you guys. So, but both async, so people can go back in the problems, and in time. So recording is pretty good stuff. You can record the thing live also for backup, so you can watch the class you participate, because we're gonna have, we will have, well, it will be the best thing to have both material that you can play and learn on your own time, the availability, and the one you need feedback on the problem resolutions, and also what is good is that it's happening already, all these use case and models that are part of the last iteration of the OpenCog RFPs. And there's a lot of examples already on the Git, there's a lot of working behind this already. So what we believe is that we need to pick small examples that are already there to explain, but starting from scratch. This is because the atom space, we use double brackets, so the thing it's kind of special, but a bunch of knowledgeable people with a lot of experience in development this think that is the right direction. So the result is amazing. and it's exciting also to see in the different spin-offs already be impacting, So let's see, now that we have our own compute power and all of that, I'm sure it's going to get somewhere. So yeah, that's it. And if a short response, it will be both. And of course, a lot of documentation. And definitely the first collaborator is OpenCog Foundation, the tech team. I think inspirational also is part of this. Gamers Guild definitely from Ambassador to make participate in the development of that gamification strategies, and why no rewards, and then we have something that we can use for different iterations of ongoing online hackathon, if you think so. We can have a platform of content that we can create, even go deeper, a second phase of more complex solving things, you know. Yeah, that would be the idea. But let's see where it takes us. But again, thank you, Rob.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Guillermo,
Yeah, cool.
for the question, for the answer, I mean, and for the presentation. And that being said, I think we can move to the last presentation. And here we have Homomorphic Encryption for Secure Functional Programming by Muzon. We have a question. Ubio, please. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, so I just want to say, Guillermo, this is awesome. I'm actually
my
looking
friend.
at,
Good to hear from you.
thank you. I'm actually looking at potential collaboration with the Deaf Outreach Circle. How do we can have, you talked about something about the hackathon as well being a strategy. So maybe we can just hang out together and try to see what we can do together on this. I think there's potential here. I don't think we can get all of that potential on a call, just on a call like this, but I feel we need to align and probably there's something out there for us.
Cool. I do agree, Ubio. Definitely, and also, yeah, it would be good to. I think it's a good opportunity to also bring both communities, Open Hyperon and Deep Funding, the wider SingularityNET community together. Yeah, so definitely, let's follow up later. Okay, you know where to find me, my friend.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Guillermo. Thank you, Ubio. Always great to hear from you. Always great to hear other voices unmute and speak. And that being said, Muzonda, please, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear about your idea. It's last but is not least for sure.
All right, thank you so much. So today I'm excited to present the project on homomorphic encryption for secure functional programming. Can I share my screen?
Yes, of course. You already have the permission.
All right. Can you see it being shared?
Not yet for me. It's still loading. It says now we can see it.
All right.
Well, that's a beautiful presentation, huh?
Yeah, thank you. So the project is inspired from Dr. Ben's paper on homomorphic encryption of intuitionistic logic proofs and functional programs, a categorical approach inspired by composite order bilinear groups. It discusses similar concepts to arithmetic operations of homomorphic encryption schemes that adapt to support logical inference steps in intuitionistic logic. So the key to our construction are polynomial functors and bounded natural functors, BNFs, which serve as a categorical substrate on which logic formulas and proofs are represented and manipulated. So the BNF is constructed via a reduction from subgraph isomorphism, providing a foundation for cryptographic security. The methods in this project can homomorphically encode the execution of total dependently typed functional programs and outline strategies for making the approach potentially efficient, including software optimizations and hardware accelerations. So this is the agenda. This is what we'll cover for today. We'll start with the privacy problem in AI, and then unpack what homomorphic encryption really is, why it matters now, where it fits in SingularityNET, and wrap up with why it's urgent. Yeah. So the AI privacy crisis no one's solving today. AI systems, of course, need data, and that data is sensitive. But once decrypted, that data is exposed with the current existing methods that we have today. It doesn't remain encrypted, it gets decrypted, and leading to the exposure of the data. And right now, we can't verify proofs or run type logic securely in the cloud. Homomorphic encryption exists, but it only handles numbers, not full programs or logic. That's the gap. And that's where we come in. Yeah. Next slide. So, homomorphic encryption demystified. Homomorphic encryption lets us compute directly on encrypted data without ever decrypting it. But current homomorphic encryption, like I said, is limited to arithmetic or Boolean operations. So the approach expands it to logic and functional programs using functor-based encodings. Why homomorphic encryption is a now problem today? Cloud computing and formal logic in AI are rising pretty much fast. Privacy laws are tightening, but today's tools don't protect logic, code, or typed functions. We urgently need encryption that works for logic, not just numbers. Yeah, and if we don't act now, we risk stalling secure, verifiable artificial intelligence. So, sixth slide. This tech unlocks big use cases like secure agents, encrypted smart contracts, logic as a service, and trustless governance. It fits right into SingularityNET's mission, decentralized, intelligent, and secure. So these are just yeah, pretty much what I wrote down. Yeah. So we'll go to the mind map of the proposal. So these are the key pieces: privacy, logic, functor encoding, cryptographic security, and efficient execution. Together, they form a complete real-world solution, which is beneficial for all sentient beings and efficient for safe AGI. So here are the core concepts. Like I have mentioned, So here is inviting the community for use cases. What's your use case? A crowd ideation. So now it's your turn. What encrypted logic use case would you build, from secure voting to private AI training? The possibilities are wide open, and we'd love to hear your ideas. There's many. This is just a limited list currently. Yeah. So closing with agency on why this matters now. We're building more intelligent systems, but without secure logic, they are fragile. So let's not wait until trust breaks. This is our chance to secure the foundations now. So secure logic is the missing layer in modern encryption. Without it, AI smart contracts and proofs remain vulnerable, which is pretty much a risk. And we are, of course, entering an era of AI formalization, type logic, verifiable agents, and program proofs all need privacy built in. So the call to action is, let's build encrypted intelligence before trust is lost for good. And the proposal is the bridge. We can run logic securely, verifiably, and sustainably, starting now, of course. The sooner, the better.
All right, awesome. You have still one more slide? Oh, okay, go.
Yeah, it should be the last one. Yeah, so this is basically a summary of what we were talking about. So it expands the power of homomorphic encryption beyond numbers and booleans into type logic and functional programs, which is the domain of intuitionistic logic programs that carry Howard correspondence from arithmetic operations, which are homomorphic encryption schemes. So there are similar concepts to arithmetic operations that adapt to support logical inference into this intuitionistic domain. And it also, of course, offers privacy and verification, which can finally coexist, run, and reason securely without exposing code, data, or logic. So the innovation enables trustworthy AI infrastructure. It forms the foundation for verifiable, privacy, respecting intelligent systems. And I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Muzanda. It's a very interesting concept, actually. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Please feel free to raise the hand, unmute, anything like that. If not, maybe I can also ask you some questions. It's really interesting. So basically, with this solution, you can actually have AI go through a lot of data and create models using that data without actually knowing the content behind, right? That's basically it, right, Musanda?
Yeah.
And so my question is, how easy is it to actually, prepare AIs to utilize this technology, to utilize homomorphic encryption? And what do you need to build on your side to make this bridge? You probably need to do something, right? Or can any normal AI already interact with it? How would it work in practice?
It would work, for example, let's say, let me give you a practical example with Facebook. So Facebook runs ads, right? Like personalized ads. that offer you, of course, stuff that you would want to like buy maybe on Amazon. But then where does it get this data from? It gets it from your private messages. So that's, of course, not encrypted. But with homomorphic encryption, they can still offer personalized ads without checking your private messages. So that's the bright side, the advantages to homomorphic encryption.
No, yeah, I think it's very important to be honest with you. Also, because it's not just the message, is a bunch of things right now, right, that are going out and that are being used to train AI. So securing it would be definitely important. And also, it's not just like security. If you have this encryption, sharing data for many purposes to build more AIs and to democratize it, it's possible, right? Because right now you have a lot of limitations in sharing data because you have all these policies, right? Data privacy policies that you need to comply with, and you need to respect what you put in your policy. And my question is, so would this be compliant? I'm not sure if you know this. Is it compliant with all data privacy laws, including GDPR, which is very hard to do?
Of course, it's complied to the privacy regulations. So
Okay.
we mentioned the privacy laws that are tightening. So that fills the gap in the lines with the
Okay.
regulations.
So it could really facilitate selling data or something like that without compromising privacy for users, right? And to train models, end of the day, and even create a marketplace for it. Okay, cool. And just as a question, do you have a team to work on these? What is your background, and why did you got so interested in this topic, Muzonda?
I have a passion. I've been researching for like quite some time. Um, I'm not yet in school. I just got to the US. I've been here for like 10 months. So once my documents are in, of course, I want to study mathematics first. So it's my passion for math actually that inspired me to go for such a project. Yeah. And privacy, ethics, all that safety, beneficial AGI is what drives me. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Mazanda. Thank you so much for sharing, for coming here, for being brave. Good luck for your new journey in the US. I hope you can achieve your dreams there and have a lot of success. And hopefully, I hope this can go through. Unfortunately, even for Guillermo and for you, the deep funding is currently down in maintenance, so we cannot really send you the links for now, but please check the proposal. Also, iOS is asking if you can share the presentation. I guess people enjoyed it, so maybe if you have a link, you
Yeah.
could put it in the chat, Muzonda.
All right.
But yeah, really interesting idea, and yeah, very nice looking presentation, Muzonda. So that
Thank
was
you.
awesome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing. It was great having you.
Thank you
If,
so much.
yeah, thank you. Well, if there are no more, I was also asking if you're open to collaborations, Muzonda. So I guess there's a question for you.
Yeah, of course, I am open,
All right.
definitely.
I guess Ayo, you can reach Muzonda in Mattermost if you need. Just search for it and you'll get him and you can send a direct message. Ayomi, thank you for the comment, also compliment. Great presentation. So yeah, this is good. Well, thank you, Muzonda, Justin, Maria, Guillermo. Thank you to all presenters. And a big thank you also to everyone here watching, everyone being live, and also everyone watching at home in the YouTube at a later stage. It was great being here with you. Great to share and know more about what is happening in the community. There's a lot happening. As you can see, there are projects going on. There are hubs trying to grow deep funding, decentralize, and reach more people. There are ideas right now, a lot of ideas with the Ideation RFP, and we want to bring a few of them here so that you can hear more about them, understand what is in the background, and understand why they are important for deep funding right now. Like for example, the idea of Mozonda is worried about privacy. He wants AI to grow, but with more more privacy and with our data being a little bit more secure and not just spread all around. So he's proposing a solution that goes that follows that objective. So yeah, definitely an important thing to consider. Yeah, I guess beneficial AI also needs some privacy. But yeah, so if you have any ideas to share, please come here, come share with us. If you have anything, any proposal, anything you're working on, this is a space for you. On our side, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week. And next week, we have Open All Lands, the call for governance at 2 p.m. UTC on Wednesday. So if you want, you can join that and learn more about what's happening on the deep funding governance side. That being said, thank you and bye-bye, everyone. Take care.
Goodbye.
You can unmute and say bye.
Bye, everyone.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
And as I
Nice
said,
meeting you, Justin.
all right,
he's gone.
guys, take care. You still there?
Bye.
We still have Alpha Justin. Bye, Ugochi. Great having you here. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Rafael, for hosting. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for co-hosting. Bye-bye, and bye-bye, Yayomi, as well. Take care. And Abdul. Bye.